You're listening to Homeschool Unrefined. I'm Maren.
And I'm Angela. Let's encourage each other, laugh, and get real about homeschool.
Welcome to our after-school special, Get to Know Us.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
We decided to do an episode where you guys can hopefully get to know us a little bit better.
Yeah, we have lots of new listeners, and the last time we did a Get to Know You episode was our very first episode.
Right. And it needs a refresh.
It definitely needs a refresh. Yeah.
So we're way different now. We're way different.
So much more mature.
Yeah. Yeah. So we asked for some questions, and so we're going to try and answer a bunch of those and tell you a little bit about ourselves. Hopefully it will help you to know who's speaking when we're doing our podcast.
Yes, exactly. And also, a lot of you asked so many good questions, so we can't get to them all.
Right.
And especially if they were about homeschool,
yep.
We're going to kind of leave those to some of our upcoming episodes that I think they're going to fit in very nicely with. So listen for those soon.
In the future. Yep. We have them all written down. We haven't forgotten them. So we will get to your question
at
some point soon. So
exactly.
If we don't get to it today. So we just thought we'd start out with a little intro. We're each going to just do a little intro to tell you a little bit about ourselves. So I'm going to start. So I'm Angela. I live in Minnesota with my husband, Jeremy, and our 3 kids. And my kids are ages 13, 11, and 9. And it's girl, boy. My husband works in the garage door business. And he does that in Minnesota. And he's in a business partnership with his sister, and so they have a family business together. Mm-hmm. And they've been doing that since he got out of college. So that's his thing. And I now homeschool the kids, but before I did that, I was a teacher, and I taught 7th and 8th grade math and science, and then I also taught online science for high school. So I'm a science teacher. My license is in science, 5 through 12 science. But
5 through 12, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I love learning about science. I don't feel like I'm a great science teacher because I'm not I never got great grades in science. So I'm just gonna be honest.
Yeah. That was probably just the setup of the, how science classes are probably set up.
Oh, I know.
You probably learned a lot.
Right. I'm sure
you did.
I'm not one of those really smart science people, but I did love teaching, and that because I liked science, that's kind of was my way to do that.
It was your subject to do.
It was my subject to do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I was a stay-at-home mom. Until we started homeschooling, and I still stay home, but now we homeschool. So
do you have any hobbies, Angela?
Well, okay, so I'm an introvert, which means that I like to
should we guess what your hobbies are?
No. Yeah, you can probably guess. I like to read, stay home, and go for walks.
Yes,
so
good.
That's probably it. Yep. No, and I also what else? I love to get outside too, but not too far, not for too long. I'm not super adventurous like Maren is, but I like to be outside.
Right.
Reading. I knit a little bit, but I haven't done it in a while, so
I was going to say that.
Kind of streaky. Yeah.
I feel like you're really good at it.
That's because you don't know many knitters.
I don't actually, but I'm always so amazed at what you
knit washcloths. So.
And hats.
And hats. Okay. Yeah. Those are basically
scarves.
Yeah. Okay. Those who knit know that that's the beginner knitting.
Okay. So I feel like one of the things that you're really good at, and I would call it a hobby.
Okay.
I don't know if you would, but I think you're very good at researching lots of health-minded things.
Okay.
Specifically, you've taught me how to make kombucha. Mm-hmm. And you taught me, I just remember, when our kids were little, you taught me how to make homemade diaper spray.
Yeah.
And things like that. I mean, you're just really good at figuring that kind of stuff out and doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of crunchy by nature, but I also don't want to spend a lot of money on all the crunchy products. Mm-hmm. So I kind of got into making stuff. And my mom is like that, so I don't know, maybe it runs in the family.
Maybe.
yeah, I'm kind of like that. I do like I want to be healthy, so
Yep.
I do research that stuff, but it's not like in-depth research. Basically, I just kind of look around a little bit for stuff. It's more
I mean,
it's more research than you do.
it's a lot more research than I do, so.
Yeah. So yeah, I like that stuff.
Mhm.
I also love listening to podcasts and audiobooks.
Yes,
So I would
yeah.
call that a hobby right now. Because I think as an introvert, for me, that just gives me a lot of alone time. You know, all I have to do is put the earbuds in, and I've got some alone time.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so great. And I think that also just fits in with you like to learn things.
Yeah, I do.
And you like to learn things. So podcasts help you with that.
Right. I like to get to know different kinds of people.
Right.
Know different ways of doing things. And I'm really interested in that. So,
yep.
Yeah. So Maren and I both love talking about personalities. If you've listened to our podcast, you probably know that because we integrate a lot of that stuff into our podcast. But on the Myers-Briggs system, and I'm an ISFJ, which means that I'm an introvert and I lead with introverted sensing, which is memory. Which is memory. Like I pay attention to, things that have happened in my past, and that informs how I move forward in the future. I also pay attention to like actual senses, like how am I feeling right now?
Right. You are very in tune with your body and the environment around you.
Right. Yep. So like I notice little things in my body all the time. And what does that mean? I just want to know. What I have this little thing here. What does that mean? Or whatever, and then I also, my second function in the Myers-Briggs system is harmony.
Yep.
So I can be perceived as an extrovert sometimes, I think.
Yeah, because of this.
Because of my harmony function is very strong.
Yes, it is very strong. And sometimes I feel like it overrides even your
it does sometimes
function. Yeah.
It does. So I want people to feel comfortable. I want people to feel loved and appreciated and seen, and I want them to, like, when they say something, I want them to feel validated.
Yes Definitely.
And so I want things to go well in the family, in the community, in the wherever you are with a group of people. I want it to go well.
Yes.
And I think about that kind of stuff, like, how is that person feeling? Are they okay? Like, I need to make sure that they're okay.
Right.
Yeah. So and then I'm an Enneagram 6.
Yes.
Which means that I really value safety and security. So I'm prone to anxiety a bit. And I think 6s are also loyal.
Yes.
Very loyal. So I would say I'm very loyal.
You are.
Yep. We don't need to go too in detail about that. I'm also a questioner on Gretchen Rubin's.
Yes, this is also, I think all these things are so informative. I think this is
like if you know personalities and I hear you tell you that, you probably know a lot about me. Yeah. You can get a pretty good picture. So I'm a questioner, which I think is probably why I homeschool. I question everything. Like, why are we doing it this way? Yeah.
You will meet outer expectations if it makes sense to you.
Yeah, if it makes sense to me. And and any expectations, inner or outer, if it makes sense to me. Well, they become an inner expectation. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, so that's, I think I should probably end there.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. Do you want to start, Maren?
Yeah. So I'm Maren.
Yep.
And I live in Minnesota also. Very close to Angela. With my husband, Sean, and my 4 kids. And my kids are 11, 9, 9, and 7. So I have my 11-year-old is a girl, and I have twin 9-year-olds who are a boy and a girl, and then my 7-year-old is a girl. So that rounds it out.
Yep.
And my husband, Sean, is he's in real estate, and I always, when I say that, I feel like it's kind of just like a quick, let's just move on. But for him, it's very much like he's growing. He grows teams. So it's like he's really more of an entrepreneur than he is a real estate person. He actually doesn't do anything with, buyers and sellers.
Yep.
So, you know what I mean? So he has an entrepreneur mind.
Yep.
And which I think is great because my personality type is really, that excites me.
Yep.
Being in, entrepreneurship. So, yeah, we love to talk about that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Entrepreneurship. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what else. My hobbies include, I would say music first. I love music. I love playing music. I play piano. And mostly. Yep. But I like trying out lots of different instruments. I play a little bit of guitar and I'm learning mandolin. I'm trying to think of some other instruments I've ever played.
You've played you've played most of them. Saxophone?
Most of them. I played saxophone in high school and college. Yep. Which I loved. And I picked the saxophone because I wanted to play in the jazz band. Yeah. I remember. Yeah. When I was in 5th grade, I was like, I want to play in the jazz band someday. So yeah. Got to pick a good instrument for that. Right. Saxophone. So, I did that. I played oboe for a little while in high school. Wow. Because it was kind of needed. I think. I've played.
You played the organ in high school.
I played the organ in high school. Yes. I played for 2 churches in my small town.
You got paid to do that.
Yeah. I did. I think they may have even paid me to take organ lessons because they needed an
really
organ
needed
player,
someone.
So they were desperate. So, yeah. So I've played
the accordion,
harmonica a little bit.
Oh yeah,
accordion. Yes, and but I just know like a little bit of these instruments. I know enough to play. I know the piano, and so knowing the piano, I can play a lot of instruments.
Okay. I mean, I know the piano, but I can only play the piano, so it doesn't transfer.
Okay.
You have a natural ability to pick up an instrument and play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To a point, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. And then as soon as it gets like to be hard work, then I kind of don't do it as much anymore. But piano I can.
Yeah.
Piano I like working on. Definitely. I'm trying to think what else. I am, like you said, I'm an adventurous person. Yep. I like to go on adventures. I like new and different things a lot. Mm-hmm. So, I like to hike. I love to be in nature. Mm-hmm. Love to be in nature. And I could be outside all day if it's nice. Or even if it's not nice. I like to be outside sometimes. I like to rock climb sometimes. I've had this injury, so I haven't been able to rock climb for a long time, but I really like rock climbing a lot. Love it. I really like to travel. Yep. So, and my husband does too, which is great because we do get away a lot. Yeah. The 2 of us sometimes, which is great. He travels for work quite a bit, so sometimes I go with him, but, and then we dream a lot about places we want to go. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. For our honeymoon, we went to Iceland and Norway. Yeah. Which was like an epic trip, like once in a lifetime kind of trip. Right. So, I mean, those are the kind of things I'd like to do more. So, and I'm trying to think, personality. Should I go on to personality type?
Talk about your personality.
So, my personality types, on the Myers-Briggs, I'm an ENFP. Which is, you're going to see a trend here in all my personality types. They're all on the same wavelength here. ENFPs so my first function is extroverted intuitive. So that is on the personality hacker. They name that exploration, which is like kind of what I just described. I really like to get out into the world. Yep. And be around in the world, to feel alive. And so that doesn't necessarily mean being with people. It could be out, in nature or anywhere where people are around. I don't necessarily need to be talking with them either. But yeah, just being out. Yep. And also, as an intuitive, I really have this inner world kind of too, where like I pick up on so much going on around me all the time. Yep. not not physical or environmental things, really. Yep. In fact, people have to remind me about those kind of things all the time. Like, your door is open on your car or something like that. Like, I don't think of those kind of things ever. Yeah. But like, I am picking up on the emotions of everybody in a room often. And then I like I can go down these, paths of like, well, if this person's feeling this now, then what's this going to happen? Then what's going to happen? And then what's going to happen? And how they're going to feel. I don't, like, that's my inner dialogue a lot. Yep. So my second function is introverted feeling, which is authenticity. Mm-hmm. And that also, I'm pretty strong in that too. Yep. My authenticity. So whatever I'm doing, whatever decisions I'm making, it really has to hold true with who I am as a person. Yeah. And what my strong beliefs are. Yep. So, which is great, I think, except sometimes I just have to, sometimes I have to suck it up and do things that I don't really want to do because it's not really a passion of mine. Because that's real life and that's really hard for me sometimes. So, yeah. Anyway. Yeah. And on the Enneagram, I'm a 7. Yeah. So, it's so similar, I think, to being an ENFP. 7s really dislike mundane things very much. They mean doing mundane, detailed things are very difficult. And 7s are always looking for something exciting and new. Mm-hmm. So
they want to explore.
They want to explore.
Yep. And they're very positive.
And have fun. Yes, very fun. Yes. 7s really like run away from like negative emotions. They do not like those. Yeah. So, yeah. And I'm a rebel. You're a Gretchen rebel. Rubin's rebel. Yeah. So, which means I really don't meet outer or inner expectations. So, try and figure that out. I know. But what I've learned after, reading about the rebels, is that it's kind of like the authenticity thing again, where it's like, it really has to like ring true with my inner core. Right. For me to say yes to it. Right. And so, I overthink things. So I can easily overthink things, because it has to be like that important to me sometimes to say yes to things. So, yeah.
Yeah. Should we talk a little bit about our friendship?
Yes.
Okay. So, so Maren and I have been friends for 20 years, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, 20? We have our 20-year college reunion this fall.
Right. And we met each other right before senior year. So it'll probably be 21 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we met each other like right before senior year started.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
And that story we're going to save for later.
Right. How we met?
Yeah. How we met.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we met at a bar.
Enough
we'll just say that. And we kind of knew each other. I mean, we knew who each other was. I mean, we went to a small school.
Yeah, we went to a small college.
Small college. There was probably like
3,000
people
in the college. Yep.
But I knew who you were because you you were very like you were kind of a performer.
Was I?
Yes. And I just remember you did the Saturday Night Live cheerleader skits in front of like
with our friend
for
Corey.
Like variety nights or whatever.
Yeah.
Or what
we
kind
got
of
like picked up. We got picked up to do things. Like I think we did it first for a talent show, my friend Corey and I. Our friend Corey.
Yeah.
And we did, if you remember on SNL on Saturday Night Live, they had the cheerleaders back then in the 90s.
Yeah, Will Ferrell and
Sherry O'Terry.
Sherry O'Terry, yeah.
Yeah, and
you were Sherry O'Terry.
I was Sherry O'Terry, yeah. So we did the skit for like a talent show. Yeah. And then people
really
started asking us to do things.
Yeah. It was so good that you did them probably like 5 times or something.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
And I asked you if you had a video of that. Because we need to see a video. I need to see a video, but you said you don't have one. But
we're gonna have to ask Corey.
And find somebody. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. So I knew who you were. And you were friends with some people who I was friends with.
Yes. Yeah. We had a lot of mutual friends.
Yep.
And you were in SOS. I knew you very well. I didn't know you very well, but I knew who you were, and I wanted to be friends with you. I knew I wanted to be friends with you.
Really?
Yeah. So
great.
Yeah, because you were in SOS, which is...
It was like a service organization.
Yeah, it was a service Yep. And I was in Habitat for Humanity.
Yep.
And you were too. Like when you went on the trips and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So we kind of crossed paths a little bit.
Yep. Right.
But anyway, we did become friends senior year.
Yeah. Yep. We met in a bar, said hello to each other. It was kind of like, oh yeah, I know who you are. And you're like, yeah, I know who you are. Nice to finally meet you. And then we became friends.
Yep.
I don't remember how after that, but
yeah, I know. Well, I think we
started hanging out.
I think we were like friends with a group of friends senior year.
Yeah.
And then after that, we really didn't have, we weren't regular emailers yet.
No.
After that.
I remember you took a job after college in California.
Yeah, in California.
It was a big step. I would have never done that. But that's just shows our personality differences. You were like, yep, I'm going to California. And you were a teacher.
I just decided I was a teacher. And I went to these job fairs. And there were these huge long lines for the big, suburban schools in Minnesota. And I was like, I don't even want to teach at one of those schools anyway. Why would I go to one of those lines? And then there were all these places like in California and Texas mainly who were recruiting very heavily from Minnesota because they knew that, Minnesota had these really strong, education programs.
Yep.
So I just thought, oh, this is my chance. This is my chance to get away.
Yep.
Nothing tying me down.
Right.
That's awesome. All the short lines.
Right.
So you in California.
You went to California and then we talked on the phone. Which
we
I
talked
just
on the
can't
phone.
even I shudder to think about that.
I can't even believe we did that.
I feel like, did I make you talk on the phone?
No,
I'm sorry.
I loved it back then.
Okay. Yeah, I think I liked talking on the phone back then too.
We both hate talking on the phone now.
Did we write letters? I knew I wrote letters to some people, but I didn't know if I wrote.
Yep.
Oh, do you have any of those?
So. I might.
Oh my God! Wow.
I'll look.
Oh no!
Have to check those out.
Oh yeah.
But then I moved back to Minnesota a couple years later.
Yep.
And just like so many things that we decided to do kind of fell in place for us to just do things. I mean, we just did everything together.
Yeah.
A lot.
Well, you moved to St. Paul and I was living in St. Paul. So
I moved into your old apartment building.
Yeah. And so then we just started hanging out more regularly in the cities.
Yeah. Yeah. And we watched Friends together.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Went to yoga.
Uh-huh.
Then, actually, okay, we forgot about this really important thing.
What?
So you were an AmeriCorps volunteer.
Yep.
Remember this?
Yes, I do.
And so you were coordinating, college students with elementary schools around St. Paul.
Yes.
And I remember on the phone when I was in California talking to you, and I was saying, I really want to work with a more diverse group of people. I just want to work with diverse kids.
Yep.
Like kids who, probably in an urban setting.
Yep.
But I was like, but I don't want to teach in a really big school.
Yep.
Because I just know there's not going to be as much support for me there. So, and you were like, Maren, I have the perfect place for you.
Yep. Yeah,
and
the
so
school that I had
kinda
been
hooked me
working
up.
with. Yeah, the school I'd been working with through my AmeriCorps job. I knew it was the perfect place for you. And so, I told them about you and you applied and you got a job there.
Yep. Yep. Thanks to you.
Yep.
and then you were getting your master's degree.
In teaching.
Right? Yeah. And then then you worked. Then you got a job there too.
Yeah, then I got a job there too. So then we were co-workers for a while.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is kind of how how it started. And then since then we've we got married, had kids, and we didn't always live next to each other. Now we do.
Right. But we didn't always live that far away from each other.
Not that far.
Like within an hour of each other.
Yeah. We lived nearish each other.
Nearish, yeah.
And then we moved to your suburb. Like a mile away.
Inner ring suburb.
Very inner.
But I think all along the way, you and I have really influenced each other. I think definitely.
Yeah.
In lots of decisions that we've made, big decisions.
Right.
And I think that that's kind of a big thing to talk about because that, you know, that doesn't happen really.
Yeah. Yeah.
That much with most people, I don't think.
Right.
So I think it's really unique. Like a lot of the things you've strongly believed in, I was like, oh, that makes me really think about this.
Yeah.
And I think the same with me. Like a lot of the things I thought, you were like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. Like homeschooling, when you brought up homeschooling, and I thought you were crazy. I mean, I didn't tell you that, but I was like, I was on the outside going, oh, interesting. And then on the inside, I was like, she is going crazy. I didn't really think you were going crazy, but I was like, wow, this is way out there. And then I started to warm up to it, and then I was like, oh, yeah, it's actually...
Well, to be fair, I was just brainstorming probably.
I know, yeah.
I mean, I wasn't even near committing to it, except that I was thinking there are no schools I want to send my kids to. That's where I was at. And I was like, maybe we should just homeschool.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of times you brainstorm. This is another personality difference. A lot of times Maren brainstorms, and I'm like thinking you're doing it or we're doing it or whatever. And you're just throwing out ideas.
Yeah, I was brainstorming.
Yeah.
That's how I think, right? Yeah.
So, so that's when I started kind of thinking about homeschool a little bit. I just kind of started thinking, and I'll just tell my story a little bit. My daughter was in, my oldest was in half-day kindergarten, which was hard to find at the time, even like, well, she's 13 now. So even like 8 years ago, it was hard to find a half-day kindergarten, but I found one. And then that was even hard. I felt like she could handle a half day, but her personality at the time, I just didn't think she could do a full day. I mean, she could. Yeah. You know, all kids will do it if needed.
Right.
But she was still like so tired after that half a day. And it was just so taxing on her, and I loved the time together at home. And so I wanted to find a school where I didn't have to send her all day. Right. And then I was like, considering homeschooling. And then we found this school where they could go part-time. So she went 3 days a week, and she was home 2.
Right.
And we did that for like 3 or 4 years or something, maybe 4. Well, till she was in like 4th or 5th grade. And then even though we were technically homeschooling and we were homeschooling on those other 2 days, I didn't feel like I was actually fully taking the plunge because I had the support of the school.
Right.
Yeah. And so, and then when we decided to homeschool full time, it was like, oh, I can do this because I've already done it, you know? So it was kind of incremental for me.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think all those steps too, you and I were really processing a lot of that together. I mean, I just remember, your kids are on the whole 2 years older than my kids, you know?
Yep.
So you were kind of like ahead of me in that way. But I remember just thinking things through so much with you at the same time.
Yeah.
I remember hearing about, so my kids went to the same school as your kids.
Yep.
So, which was just 3 days there, 2 days at home, for a few years. And that was like the most I think I could have, at the time handle my kids being away, except that I had such young kids and 4 kids in 4 years. And I just remember thinking, I love the idea of homeschooling. I just have no energy to do it.
Yeah.
And not even to teach, but just like to be home with my kids anymore.
Yeah.
That's where I was at. And I just thought, this is the perfect amount for me to just get some rest. I wasn't even getting full rest because at the beginning it was just one kid at home, one kid going.
Yeah.
Those 3 days, but it would just it was just a little bit of something. And all of my kids did end up going to that school for just, I think my youngest went for 1 year only.
Yeah.
Yep. And it was so good for me to do that at that time. I mean, I'm glad we did it.
Yeah.
I am so glad though that we're full-time homeschooling now.
Yeah.
It was just such a good decision for us to do that. And I'm so glad we did it together.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm just so glad we did.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, Shauna and I were, seriously having these big discussions about, are we going to do this full-time homeschool thing? And, we had to decide. And I remember thinking, I have to make this decision without Angela. And yet it would be so nice to know that she was doing it, with me.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, yeah, and it was nice for us, and then also nice for our kids to know, like, oh, they're going to have some friends.
Yeah.
They're going to have some built-in friends right away.
Yeah, exactly.
Who aren't going to school. So.
Right. And I also loved, and I think this is part of maybe your questioner tendency too, but I always feel when I talk with you about homeschool, I feel so just less stressed all over the board. Yeah, because I just feel like anything I say, I'm like, any worry I have, oh my goodness, at the beginning, I used to, I just didn't know how it was going to be. We don't have a math curriculum. I don't know what we're going to do for math. And, you would always just be like, well, why do you need a math curriculum today? Maybe just don't do math for a while.
Oh, wow. I don't remember saying
or
that.
Something. I
don't remember being that confident because I don't think I was very confident.
Well, I think you're really good. I think you're really good at having that perspective. I mean, for sure about me.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's easier to tell me. Yeah. Tell you. Like, it's easier for me to encourage you than it is to encourage myself.
And that's how I feel too.
Yeah.
So I feel like, that's good. It's good for us to tell each other those things.
Right. Totally.
A lot.
Yes. What had happened for me was we were in, my husband had to take a trip to Arizona when my oldest was like in 4th or 5th grade, and he had to go for like 5 months. And since we were part-time homeschooling, we just decided to go with him, which meant we were full-time homeschooling when we were in Arizona, right? Mm-hmm. And so our kids were out of their part-time school and we were full-time homeschooling. And I realized this is amazing.
Yeah.
This is, and I think it was just because I fell into this doing it. I was only going to do it for these like 5 months, but it was just, everybody was like happier, nicer to each other. We weren't rushing around. We just had a flow to our family life that was great. Right. And so then when it came time to sign up again for school for the next year, I was like, oh, I think I really like this full-time thing. It just simplified our life, and it made us have that balance, which we've talked about last week, I think.
I remember this. Yeah. And I remember, and I think it was the same time, and I think this happens to us a lot, Angela.
Yeah.
Where we both think we're going to do something. I mean, we both think the same things separately.
Yeah.
Because I remember coming to you and saying, I'm thinking might homeschool next year.
Yeah.
Full-time. And you're like, us too.
I know.
We're thinking about it.
Yeah, I know. And then it was just a lot of back and forth. Like, if she doesn't do it, can I still do it? Just like you said, I got to make this decision whether or not you do it.
Right. Exactly.
And somebody asked, so that's kind of how we influence each other. Somebody asked, do you guys homeschool together? I would say no.
No.
We don't at all.
Well, I mean, define homeschool.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, we get together.
We do not do like book work together. We don't do book work together.
No, nothing traditionally academic.
No.
Right, we'll go on field trips. We'll go outside.
We do Adventure Co.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the time.
Yep.
We've been on a little hiatus because of our schedule. But we do Adventure Co., which we called it Adventure Co. to make it sound fun. And
it worked.
It's fun. Yeah, it worked.
It's better than nature walk.
Exactly. That did not go over.
No.
And we do a lot of getting out together.
Yeah,
for sure.
Somebody asked if we have a homeschool philosophy, and I thought we should talk about that just a little bit.
Yeah, right.
So go ahead, Maren.
I know. It's a hard one to answer because I don't have like a clean cut answer really for that.
Yeah.
I'd say we're eclectic homeschoolers.
Doesn't that just mean like you're a bunch of things?
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you. That's exactly what it means. Because I don't know what else to say. I think I mentioned this in an Instagram post a little while ago when we introduced ourselves. Based on my personality, especially, my homeschool philosophy really is that kids do not need to be poured into, like information does not need to be poured into them for them to learn. I think it's all in them already, their capabilities of learning, and actually their desire to learn is instilled in them already. And I think our jobs is to foster that so that it doesn't die. I want them to continue to love to learn. And if I can do that, they will learn everything they need to know and a million times more.
Yep.
So just fostering this love of learning. And I think for kids, that often means free time. I just think it does. It means a lot of free time. That's when kids they need space in their minds, space in the day to let their mind wander and think about the things they want to think about, because that's how they learn best.
Yep.
They aren't going to learn best by hearing what I am interested in. They're going to learn best by learning about things that they're interested in. So, as much as you can make them work as much as you want, but the learning is going to happen when they're ready to learn too. That's another thing. I think it's all very, there's a lot of arbitrary rules in public school about when kids need to learn to read and lots of other things. And I think that can be really detrimental. And I think kids will learn when they are ready to learn those things.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That sounds very unschooly. So I'm just curious,
does.
do you still have your kids do some stuff?
Yep.
So you're not like a full-on unschooler.
Yeah, no, we do. I mean, we do math, but it's been like so many trials and errors of what works best, because it's so important for me to get the right thing for them so that they're really working. That it's really working for them. The learning is actually working for them. So we do math, but it's a small amount every day, because it's a small amount of formal every day, and it's not every day actually. But because I think math happens naturally throughout the day.
Yeah.
Whether you call it math or not.
Right.
We do what we call math a few times a week.
Yeah.
For very short amounts of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And same with a lot of other things, spelling, it just depends. I mean, when I think somebody's ready to do it, we'll do a little bit of it, but it is very, very low key. It's very low key.
Yeah.
And I want it to be in its most natural state as I possibly can. But I also need to, there's sometimes like I need to know like where my kids are at. So that's kind of why I do a little bit of formal teaching, but it's pretty minimum, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do a lot of read aloud.
Right.
That's like my main thing.
Yeah.
Read aloud, because so much, there's just like an all-encompassing learning experience.
Right.
So I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Anyway, how about you? Sorry, I talked a lot there.
No, that's fun. That's great. I would say I'm similar to you. I don't have a philosophy, and I think I don't have a traditional philosophy.
Yeah.
That I'm not Charlotte
you can't put
Mason.
it in a sentence or something.
I'm not Charlotte Mason or classical or unschool or anything like that. I just and I like all of them. When I read about them, I do like them. I like parts of a lot of them, and so I just try and do what works for me and the kids. That's what I'm trying to think of. Like,
right.
What's going to best serve my personality and their personalities, and what I think that we all need to know. And so
right.
that looks like lots of different things a lot.
Yeah. And what I've learned though over the years is like, for example, handwriting. I want my kids to have good handwriting. I think it's so important. And yet when I made them do handwriting a lot, it just didn't work for my kids or for me. Like, to do this formal handwriting every day, it just did not work for me. And it frustrated me, because I would like to just get this done with. Can we just do this and get it done with?
Yeah.
Move on to something more fun or more important. But it didn't happen. So we work on handwriting, but it's not like, we don't call it handwriting. It's like, we'll just do when somebody's writing something, we might work on something, but it's just very, it's very natural. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm similar to that. I mean, I have things that I have my kids do.
Right.
I have things I have my kids do, but it's usually like based on their personality or my personality or what works for our family. And it's a lot of trial and error, and I'm not afraid to change something. So
Yeah, that is so good.
yep. Okay, somebody asked if our families, like kids and husbands, are friends too. And they are. They are.
They are.
Our kids are really good friends.
Yeah.
They've been friends.
They were since they were born.
Yeah, they, because they were friends because we were friends.
Yep. Yeah.
And then
we had a lot of play dates.
Yeah.
when
And
they were little.
now they're good friends. So it's
they
great.
Are.
It's great.
Yeah.
Our 11-year-olds are good friends. Our boys are
Yes.
good friends. And then my 13-year-old and your 9-year-old are good friends.
Yeah.
So
Which is so cute.
kind of worked out.
Their personalities are
Their
very
personalities are similar.
So it's
Yeah.
kind of fun to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, and our husbands, they don't hang out without us or anything.
Yeah, no, they don't.
But when we make them get together, they like each other.
Right.
Yeah.
They both work. I mean, they really are both focused on work a lot.
Yeah. And they have
So-
similar, they're both kind of businessy.
Yeah, they're busy. They love talking business.
So they talk
together.
about that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And I think Sean has even had Jeremy. I think he's on some kind of. I should know this.
They're on some committee together.
Yeah, I think he had Jeremy come and like help him a little or something.
Yeah.
An advisor committee or something.
Yeah.
To help him with his business. So yeah, Sean loves talking with Jeremy about business and
So they
entrepreneurship.
don't hate getting together. They'll get together. They're not.
yeah, they don't hate it.
No.
They just aren't gonna do it themselves.
Right. And I don't think either of our husbands are. I mean, Jeremy has some friends, but he doesn't ever like initiate
Yeah.
getting together with friends.
No.
Ever.
Sean ever.
Yeah.
Sean doesn't either. No, you're right.
Okay, so let's move on to a glaring difference between the two of us.
Yeah.
Somebody asked that. We've talked a little bit about that.
Can you think of one, Angela?
All right, so one glaring difference would be I think, Maren, you are much more of a big picture thinker, and I am
Yes.
like the detailed planning person.
Definitely. Yeah.
Um,
And that definitely comes out in the podcast
it
for
does.
sure.
It does.
Yep.
Yep. So I do. It just kind of works out with our roles because
Yeah.
I do the show notes and putting up the episode and making sure all those things happen. And Maren's she does more of the like big idea
Social
thinking
media.
and social media stuff.
Right.
She really likes that, so that works out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that, I mean, if you looked at our houses, you'd notice. I mean, Angela's just more organized. She's
Yeah.
just a more organized person, and
Yeah.
I'm less organized.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right. And
a glaring
that's
difference.
fine.
Yeah, it's totally fine. You're right. I think I'm probably more adventurous.
Oh yeah.
Probably more adventurous than you.
I'm like not adventurous at all.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
I like things that are kind of almost a little dangerous.
Yeah.
And you don't.
We were in Puerto Rico a couple years ago for our 40th birthday with some friends.
Yep.
And I think I maybe told this on the podcast once a long time ago, but we were
Really?
like, is the word rappelling down the side of a mountain?
Yeah.
Is that
yes,
the word?
that's the word, repelling.
I was so scared. 'Cause I don't know how high up it was, but it was very high. And we had to be all strapped in. And then we were like just basically bouncing down to the
Angela,
ground.
I cannot even believe you did that. Actually, I have to think. I can't believe you did that.
Well, so what's funny is
you are-
I'm so scared, but I'm also
Yeah.
like, I have to do it.
Okay.
I have to like conquer it. We had another friend who was just like, oh, I'm not doing it. She just
Yeah,
was,
exactly.
she's just like, I'm not doing it. I'm on the ground. And I was like,
Exactly.
no, I have to. It's almost like I can't be the person who doesn't do it. I have to do it. So I make myself, but then I'm so scared. So I'm getting into the strapped in, and I am shaking. I am just like so scared, and I can
Yeah.
barely do it. And Maren's just like,
Oh my
this
gosh.
is almost a little too safe for me.
It
I almost
was.
can't do it because it's like
I
you're
almost
strapped
can't do
in
it.
3 times.
I just thought it was such overkill. I was like, is this supposed to be an adventure? Or, I mean, I was like, I get it. You guys don't want to be sued, right? Like, I know. You want us to all be safe. I get it. But, like, I need a little bit of, can we just take one clip off?
gosh. Yeah.
or something,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. You're definitely adventurous. You like that kind of stuff. I am just
Right.
I have to be talked into it, or
Yeah.
I have to talk myself into it. Yeah.
Yeah. And, as probably as an introvert, you like to be home more than I do, probably.
I like to be home more. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Angela, how many pairs of Costco socks do you have?
Oh, well, she asked how many you have, but
I know. That's because I talked about it on the podcast.
I wear them too. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I have 12. Because I think I
was
bought
gonna
3
say-
packs.
I was going to say, I always have at least 2 packs.
Yeah.
At least 2 packs. And I think you get 5 or 6 in each pack.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the problem is my daughter now has some. And
I
so
know.
mine keep
Disappearing.
disappearing because we
Yeah.
have the same socks now.
But I wear them every day in the winter for
Yeah.
for 5 months. That's all I wear.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, until it gets to be like 50 degrees
Uh-huh.
or so, 50, 60 degrees.
Yep.
They're on. Definitely.
Yep.
They're my favorite. Okay. What is your sing loud and proud anthem?
Oh, geez. This was a hard one for me because I don't really have one.
Yeah.
I mean, I like lots of songs that I sing loud to, so I'm just going to tell you, I love Alessia Cara. I sing
Yes.
loud and proud to her.
Wow.
All of her songs. She's
Wow.
she's like 18.
You sound so cool. You sound so cool right now. Wow.
I'm
Alessia
40.
Cara. It just like rolled off your tongue.
Well, she is very cool. She's like 18 and she's amazing.
Yeah.
So I like all her songs. And then, I would say Alessia Cara adjacent.
Jason.
Artist.
Okay. Gotcha.
I think anybody else who's young,
Yeah. Gotcha. Yep.
basically.
I like
What
it.
about you?
I like the songs that are like big, like an anthem song, like
Mhm.
the question posed. I like the one that came to my mind right away was Black Eyed Peas. I got a feeling
Oh, yeah.
tonight's gonna be a good night. Oh,
Mhm.
that beat, I love it so much.
Yep.
But the other songs that I love to just belt out I really love singing Adele songs.
Oh, yeah. How can you not?
I know. And don't you ever, like, when you're singing with Adele, you're like, I think I got that voice. I think I
I'm
got
just
her
as good.
voice.
I'm just as good
Yeah.
as Adele.
Sound just as good. And then you turn off her music and then you sing and you're like, oh, no. Not
Yeah.
even close.
Those are good ones.
Yeah.
Okay. Toilet paper over or under?
Over.
Yeah, me too. I mean, is
Definitely.
that even does anybody like putting it under, or does it just happen to
does
be
that?
that way?
Yeah, I feel like those are the people who are just like, well, whatever.
Yeah,
put
I
'em
know. They're just not
And they don't
thinking
think about it.
and then it goes under, right?
Yeah. I would guess, but who knows?
Except when you put it over, then if you have like a child or a cat, doesn't it like?
Yeah.
Can-
I think if you put it under, it can stop it.
Yeah.
If somebody's
But then it's an
Pulling it.
extra like 2 inches of reach, and I'm just
and you can't find it.
I don't.
You can't find it. You have to feel for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think we agree on that.
Yep.
Angela, how about your quickest go-to dinner?
Okay, so we talked about this, and I think we are going to just mention our quickest go-to dinner, like one of them.
Yeah.
But we have so many other things, other dinners we could talk about. This could be a
Yeah.
whole episode, and so we may make this a whole episode. We are actually starting a Patreon page,
Yes.
and so this
the
may be
future.
in the future. This may be a Patreon episode. So
Yeah. Dinners. I think that'd be great.
yep. So my biggest,
Yeah.
my quickest go-to dinner when I don't know what to make, I always have rice. Usually,
Mhm.
I usually have rice. Usually have beans.
Mm-hmm.
So I just make the rice in the Instant Pot, and then
Yeah.
I add a can of beans,
Nice.
and then I add some sort of meat. Like I usually have shredded chicken in the freezer, but sometimes I just use.
Nice.
I mean, so I have to
Pre-cooked?
Yeah,
Nice.
I have to figure out what kind of meat I'm gonna add. That's the hardest part of this.
Yeah. Yep.
But even if you didn't have meat, you could just do rice and beans, and then
That's so true.
and then I just like
Topping.
saute whatever. Well, okay, so like the very
Okay.
simplest is you can pour in a can of salsa
Oh,
and just like
yeah.
mix it in and just eat it.
So nice.
That's what I do.
I love it.
And then toppings like cheese or whatever, sour cream.
Mhm.
And then but if I want to be fancy with my quick dinner, sometimes I just like saute whatever veggies we have and I throw those in. And then if I don't have any meat that's like in the freezer already cooked, sometimes I'll take like chicken or hamburger or something and just saute that too and put it in there.
So good.
Yeah.
And then what do you season it with?
Well, just sometimes the can of salsa is enough, but then I add salt and like cumin,
Sure.
and
Love it.
maybe garlic. Yeah.
Yep.
How about you?
Very nice. Well, I think my favorite go-to dinner, well, it's any meal.
Yep.
It started out as breakfast, but now I have it like almost any time, is just sauteed veggies and kind of the same as you, except it's just first I saute onions. Start with onions.
Yep.
And some kind of good oil. I like to use bacon fat.
Yep.
That's the best.
Yep.
Or avocado oil is good. But anyway, so then I like to get my onions really well done. I mean, the blacker the better, I think. And then so I get those started, and then I'll add a lot of times sweet potatoes next. But I like to cut them up really little into little cubes so that they cook better.
Yep.
And those have to get pretty soft, and then I can add other veggies. It's a lot. I really like asparagus in stir fry and sauteed veggies. I don't know. I just really like it. I mean, peppers, definitely love peppers all the time. And then, and it's kind of the same thing where I have to figure out the meat then.
Yep. Yep.
But sometimes it's just that. And then if we have leftover meat, great. Or, I'll make ground beef, pour that on top.
Yeah.
Anything. Yeah.
It's pretty versatile.
It is versatile. And I don't know. I really love sauteed veggies.
Yeah, me too.
Sauteed is
so
the best.
good.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's probably enough questions for today.
I think that's plenty.
Yep. But there are actually at least one part of this episode that we are cutting out, and we're going to put in for our Patreon subscribers when we do get a Patreon channel. So that'll be actually
Stay
soon.
tuned.
We're going to be getting that pretty soon. I would say probably for sure in the next month.
Ooh,
Would you
I like
say,
that
Maren?
commitment, Angela? Yes. Yes.
We're just
definitely.
finalizing some things. So,
Exactly.
So we'll put part of that there. So if you're interested in hearing more, you could go there. And then also, we didn't, like we said before, we didn't get to all the questions, especially a lot of the homeschool related questions. So that is going to be in a separate episode in the next few months. We have not forgotten your question. We will get to it. So as usual, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Homeschool Unrefined. You can go to our website, which is homeschoolunrefined.com, and you can find our show notes and links to everything we talked about there. So thank you for listening.
Homeschool Unrefined was created by Maren Gorse and Angela Sizer. Thanks to Gambler's Daughter for providing the music for our show. You can find Gambler's Daughter at facebook.com/gamblersdaugghtermusic.